we have TheTroll by Patrick Thomas Mitchell. It's currently on Kickstarter. It has 3 days left, and I got mine a little early because I was asked, or I mentioned something about writing a library for it. So first let's talk about programming. There is no programming chip on this. There's no ISCP, there's none of that. USB port is being used for power. So to program this, you have to carefully remove the Atmega 328, and I'm using a little screwdriver. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit here from both ends. It's not real hard to remove it. But you want to be careful not to bend pins like I probably just did. And then you get a Arduino Uno and carefully remove the Atmega 328 chip from there, and making sure that you keep the key, which is the little semicircle on the end of the board, lined up with the semicircle on the end of the chip on the end of the socket. Pop that in, and you can program it just like any other Atmega 328. And you remove the power and pop it back into your board, being very careful not to bend the pins or anything like that. Now, do this at your own risk. I'm not responsible for this, but that's how you program this thing. So it is programmable. Let's talk a little about the library here. So the library is still very much a work in progress. We have several things happening here. I may end up changing the name of the library, but right now it's Troll. And we have all our pins defined right here in this block. This next little section right here is needed for the sound chip. And then we have a list of the 57 or 58 words sounds that are on the device. So all you need to do is use the name: Evil Laugh 1, Evil Laugh 2, Meow, Growl, etc. They're defined out as a memory location and an amount of time in seconds. Actually, I guess that's milliseconds. Then these can be used in your sketch, or as an alternative, we can use the number of the memory location, and we have all the timings defined out. So if we know which number it is, it's going to also correspond to the number in the array timings. Basically, we're going to invoke the library. If we're using the internal speaker, we're going to set it to true. If we're using the external speaker, we're going to set it to false. I really don't think that matters much, other than a little power saving. if you're going to run on battery. We're going to begin the library, which will set all the pin modes and everything up, so we don't need to deal with any of that. And then to call a sound, we're just going to call the sound with the memory location and the amount of time to wait for it to play the sound. I've also set up a way to read the push button, the select button, and a way to read the dip switches, which I'll go over a little bit more here lately. So over here, well, this is the actual program of all that. And you can see here's the timings. For this particular program, I'm going to stop. Okay, so I've made several different examples so far. This one that we're looking at right now is a program example, and I will show how this works here. So we're going to look at we have a set of dip switches, and for this particular example we're splitting it up 2 and 2. So switch 1 and 2 are going to be for the program mode. Switch 3 and 4 are going to be for the sound clip you want. So that gives us a total of 4 possible sound clips, and a possibility of running 4 different programs depending upon how these are set. Basically what I've done is I've abbreviated some binary coded decimals, so the number 4 switch is the 1 spot, and the number 3 switch is the 2 spot. So if we wanted to activate sound number 2, we would leave the 1 to 0 or the 4 to 0 and bring the 3 up to 2. So basically that would be there's no 1s in the 1 spot, and there's 1, 2, so 0 plus 2 is 2. If we wanted to do sound number 4, which is really sound number 3 because of the way the array works, so we bring 1 up, 1 plus 2 is 3. If we want to do sound number 1, which is really sound number 0, if we want to do sound number 1, which is really sound number 2, so same is true for the program. Switch number 2 is the 1s bit, 1s unit, and switch number 1 is the 2 spot. So if we want to run program number 2, we switch it to 1 to on and 2 to off. So it's the same sort of deal there. And so we invoke the class right here. We include the library. We invoke the class. We set an array of the 4 sounds that we want to pick from. We're going to keep track of which sound it is and what program we want to run. This is done for timing of the bugger mode and the haunting mode, and we're going going to set in a random sound in bugger mode. So this right here says that program 00 is lights out. When you turn the lights out, you can trigger a sound when the lights come back on. Haunting is some semi-random timings of the sound. Bugger is like the haunting mode, only you're adding semi-random sounds from the entire library, not just from the small array. So this one will give you everything in the entire library. So far I haven't really come up with a fourth program for it yet. So we're going to seed it with the LiDAR, with the photocell. So if we actually, so it's going to read our switches first, and that's going to be what our initial program is going to be set to. If we want to change that, we're going to use the select button, which pretty much works at any time, but you have to kind of hold it for a couple seconds in some cases. Then we're going to go ahead and run our routine. So you know, if we've chose the lights out program or the haunting program or the bugger program, and then all these functions here are our programs running. So I am going to go ahead and set Wilhelm screen. Notice the program is 00, and the Wilhelm scream is the fourth program, or the fourth sound clip, which is really, you know, this one here is 0, 1, 2, 3. So you got the 1 and the 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. Turn that on. Go that to. Oh, we need power. So, lights are on. Hey Google, turn off the desk light.
Okay, turning off the desk light.
See a flash. That means it's activated. Hey Google, turn on the desk light.
Okay, turning on the desk light.
You may not have heard that because Google was talking. So let's do it again. See the light flash. So, haunting mode is number 1, so we're going to pop number 2 up, and we're going to hit the select button, and if it worked, sometimes like especially from the lights out program, you have to let it initialize. Now we should be in haunting mode, which is going to be random. It's going to do random times between 10 and 60 seconds. Yeah, so we're in haunting mode right now. So now it just picked a new random time to do it. I don't know what that's going to be. So this time let's go to bugger mode. Now bugger mode, it doesn't matter what sound we select here because it will just pick a random sound out of the entire sound library. So bugger mode is mode 2, so we're going to switch the 2 to off, and we're going to switch the 1 to on. We're going to make sure that that's what that is. We're going to hit the button. You heard a random burp. Now in a random time it's going to play a different sound. And then in bugger mode it goes from 0 seconds to 60 seconds and everywhere in between. So you never really know when it's going to do it. So that's just a few samples of what I've got. I've got some more in the library, in my library, in the Arduino library. I've got a way to make this activate up to 16 different sounds. Push button to activate a sound. This is still very much a work in progress, but this is what I've done so far. Thanks for watching.